Hi everyone, nice to see a very full room over here of security curious people or people that are trying to get into security or, whatever, is that you have affiliation with security. Just like it says over here, this is not a fun presentation. Like, I'm sorry, I was trying to do this presentation to actually attract people and developers and engineers to do more security stuff. And as I was building the presentation, I noticed this is a very pessimistic view about what it is to actually be working in security. So just caveat over here, if you want to leave, this is not a fun presentation. If you actually want to work in security, you probably don't want to see this because it will tell you, like, just go open a burger shop or something like that. It's probably, much more fun and much less stressful. So let's go with first slide. What do actually people think that working in security is, and especially in Web3 security, and blockchain, and for those that are, constantly on Twitter swapping, and everything else, this is probably what you see on Twitter from security people. It's like, oh, look how much money I made. Oh, I just started in security, and look, I already made my first $1,000 without even knowing how to code or anything about blockchains. People going into competitions, and no disrespect for any of the people over here. Maybe some of you that are over here are right here in the audience right now. No disrespect at all. I think you're doing an amazing job, and I'm so grateful that we have really, really talented and smart people participating in competitions, doing audits, protecting protocols, and everything else. And I think it's really worth the money that you're getting back from it. But let's not paint a picture to people that are outside of the security world, and especially those that are outside of like just general bug bounties competitions that, oh, just join security, train yourself for 2 months in Solidity, and you're going to start making $1 million a year. Because that's not the reality. Now, this is literally the 1% that is actually really, really, really good at what they're doing. Most of them actually come from traditional security. They were pen testers in the past. No, they were security, so they were red teamers. And the only thing that they've done, they learned a new language like Solidity and applied all of that mentality, all of that offensive mentality and knowledge into crypto. And they're being very well paid and remunerated thanks on that. But the reality is that there's a lot more that comes with like taking care of security for a protocol, taking care of security for a company than just participating over here. So if you really want to start, I think this is a great way. Start with competitions, start with audits, start with bug bounties. I think it's a relatively easy to start getting into crypto security, and at the same time, hopefully make some money. Honestly, money motivates everybody. Like let's not kid itself. No, we're all working here for a specific reason, and one of them is mostly money. To be able to travel, have fun, put kids to school, buy mom a house, whatever is the motive that you're doing, there's always a reason why you're trying to make money, and that's perfectly normal. So, but I noticed I never introduced myself. So I'm Christopher. I work for Polygon Labs in the security team. No, I'm not a CISO. I don't think I want to be a CISO. A CISO really just, people think that it's a fun job, but it's, as I say, it's not really a fun job. You get all the hate, when things go wrong, and you get none of the credit when things go well. So let's look a little bit, about what it is actually to be a CISO, and really just like what it means to protect a protocol, and what is in the mind of somebody that is working in security, especially in the Web3 industry, but it also applies to everything else. So I just gathered a bunch of pictures that basically are on my mind every single day when I wake up, about the things that I'm worrying about. So obviously, starting with some very relevant topics, I think we had a couple of people here already talk about things like North Korea, the IT workers, very relevant right now. For those that are not aware, like you got a North Korean guy working for your company. I'm quite sure of that. So just look around. There's probably one of them over here right now, just listening to this to this session. But IT workers, Lazarus Group, obviously very, 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 difficult team that, are basically very highly sponsored by North Korea and some others. No, it's not only North Korea. You got other countries over there. They actually have people in different countries, like in the United States and even in Europe, that actually are basically the face of the North Korean IT teams. No, so when you go and interview somebody or you have to do team meetings, actually the person that is showing up is like, anybody that could be here on the scene, like you and me, and basically just with a little script that is rehearsed. But in the background, you have an IT worker that is actually paying this person to literally being an actor, in those things. So this is something that, we're always thinking, especially if you're in HR or you do recruiting and you do interviews, like keep in mind that, this is very prevalent and there are a lot of people trying to apply for these jobs. Another one that comes to mind, obviously, right here on the right, is vibe coding. Now, I think everybody over here hopefully is vibe coding. No, if you're not, like, just don't lie yourself. You're not going to be able to keep up with the developers and the people that are really using AI tools to develop. There's nothing wrong about it. No, if you have a security guy that says, like, don't use AI tools, like, I'm sorry, you're not going to make it, because people that use AI tools are just 10 times more productive. Developers are able to ship 10 times faster the products that you need. But there come a lot of consequences, and it's really a little bit of a nightmare over here, because most of the time when a developer uses AI tools, it doesn't have to be a developer, can be anybody, you don't really know what the AI is doing, how the code is built, what dependencies are they actually importing. No, the AI tool is going to use the easiest path to actually go and build the prompt that you're putting over there. So it may be using actually dependencies that are not safe, dependencies that for whatever reason have been hacked, or have some type of 0-day or something like that. So it's important that even though it's all okay with using AI tools, AI development, vibe coding, you need to have somebody to peer review that code. Ideally yourself if you're the developer, but always have somebody else also review that code that the AI is building, because there's a lot of issues that can come with AI coding. No. Fakes, no, deep fakes specifically. I talked about a little bit about the recruiting and North Korea and all those type of things. That's also one that worries me a ton. It's just incredible the amount of perfection that deep fakes have gone. No, I think everybody remembers that Will Smith spaghetti video. That was tried to be generated, where he was like, it was crazy. It didn't make any sense like a year ago how the AI built that video. And now literally it is almost perfect to perfection how he builds video. And even in the deep fakes, you can barely notice nowadays, especially if you don't have like perfect connection, perfect video state and stuff like that. You can probably be fooled very easily that the person you're talking to is actually your boss or the financial advisor or whoever it is. So following the rule of like two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, always verify. If your boss calls you and tells you, please send $500,000, to whoever it is, just do a second check through Telegram, to Slack, to whatever system you do. Like, hey, can you confirm what you just said, about transferring money or doing this upgrade or stuff like that? Just always double check, verify everything that is else. Another nightmare to me is the part of testing in prod, and I put a very famous person over here. I like what he does. No, don't get me wrong, but when he went out and said like it's all good to test in prod, like I'm like, no, that is actual nightmare. You do not want to test things in production because you have people all day looking at the blockchain, like literally looking at the mempool, which means before things are even deployed into the blockchain, to understand how can they attack it, how can they use it to their benefit. So, what I take like testing prod in a simulation. Let's put it that way. Now, I think testing prod as a concept is really good because it really reflects real-time scenarios and stuff like that, but use a simulation for it. Another thing that I, wake up every morning, you're going to see it over there at the end. That is literally my Sunday morning. And I could only just like screenshot like the first. It's our bug bounty program at Polygon. That is a real screenshot. Those are real things. If you see the time slot, that went on for basically until 10 a.m. in the morning. So it started like 7:22 in the morning on Sunday, and it went all the way to 10 a.m. Those are all AI bug bounty submitted. And obviously, it's all good. You know, you got triagers. Yeah, this is AI submitted, you know, invalid, 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 invalid. But what's the problem over here? There may be a valid one in the middle, and there is a valid one in the middle, unfortunately. And we caught the valid one in the middle, but it took a while because we also had to go through other 30 different reports and basically figure out which one is real, which one is not real. So it's very easy to miss a real bug bounty program. What else keeps me at night? Yeah, DAOs, not really for Polygon, no, in certain terms, but obviously we had this, Vitalik just literally, I had this slide already prepared and Vitalik talked about it as well. I'm like, oh, wow, we think alike. You know, the Arbitrum DAO stuff where, you know, they actually paid to get votes in order to, you know, gain some advantage into the governance and all those type of things. Like, sometimes I'm afraid, not specific in Polygon because we don't have direct like on-chain voting that actually goes to on-chain execution, but you know, for a protocol that has direct on-chain execution based on token voting, like you can wake up one day and somebody change all your contract through a malicious, you know, governance proposal or something like that, and obviously this has happened. Yeah, Namecheap and all the social networks, like all the founders, all the, you know, crypto famous people that the company has, like they're being targeted all the time with phishing links and stuff like that. And you know, you can imagine what happens if one of these guys, let's put Sandeep from Polygon, gets phished, his Twitter gets hacked, and then suddenly says, yeah, airdrop, Polygon is doing an airdrop, please, you know, send your tokens here and we're gonna airdrop you stuff. You know, most people are gonna believe that, and you know, so that's a nightmare. Just all the social networks, Discord getting hacked, all those type of things. You can wake up one morning and all of that is hacked and you just gotta go through it. Travel rule, a lot of regulations, you know, now with, you know, it's great that regulation is opening up and being more comfortable with crypto and everything else, but at the same time, that means that we need to do more things. We need to provide more information, answer more questionnaires, all those type of things to the different governments and the regulators. Now, last but not least, the obvious, bridge gets drained, millions of dollars lost. That's an always constant nightmare that you have over there. So I would like to tell you, you know, if you're looking to go into security or want to do security, like actual security, not just, you know, trying to find a bug and make $1 million, is like, are you really ready for that responsibility? Because, and this is probably the most pessimistic slide of all of them. It's like, you're going to be, you know, attacked or bombarded with constant threats. No, we've talked about that. Regulation, countries, state-sponsored, people, you know, DDoSing your website, you know, spam, all those type of things. There's also misaligned incentives. Like, apart from those 1% auditors that are making bank on some of these competitions and stuff like that, the rest of the security people have a normal salary. Like, we are not millionaires, and we're trying to protect, like, you know, multi-million-dollar, even billion-dollar companies, billion-dollar treasuries, billion-dollar smart contracts and stuff like that. So, you know, there's a lot of misaligned incentives, especially if you're a custodian, if you're part of a multi-sig, like, you know, you can be tempted. Somebody can come and tell you, like, hey, if you give me one of these bug bounty things, you know, some of that where I can hack, you know, Polygon for $3 billion, I'll give you 10% of that information. Like, that's, you know, 50 years of your salary or whatever, whatever it is. Like, think about it. No, so those incentives are not always aligned. You know, you're not gonna be a multimillionaire by working in security. Limited authority, that's also a very big problem, unfortunately. No, ship. That's what we hear from all CTOs, from all CEOs, and I completely understand it. Like, this industry moves fast, and we need to move fast if we want to remain relevant. But at the same time, moving fast means that it comes with a lot of uncertainties and a lot of untested code, a lot of, you know, unsecured code and stuff like that, which could lead to disastrous dangers. So, you know, I'm all about moving fast, no, and swiftly, but at the same time, you know, at least you have to have a little bit of interference and at least know that code is going live. Like, the worst thing that can happen for a CISO or for somebody in security is that you wake up and suddenly you have a new smart contract with millions of dollars that you have never heard about. You know, like, hey, when did you guys deploy this? Why didn't you tell us, like, at least give us a night to review it, like make sure that, you're not doing anything incredibly stupid that will, any script kiddie can hopefully do it. Unfortunately, it happens a lot. A lot of products, a lot of smart contracts, a lot of just general, websites and stuff like that go live with barely or none knowledge from security teams, and well, we all know how those stories ends. And last over here is obviously the regulations, the legal risks, and stuff like that. I don't know if everybody knows, but in traditional security, if you're a CISO in the United States, you can actually go to jail. Yeah, so like look at SolarWinds and many others. Like there, you have a duty over there to protect the information, to inform the board about risks, to ensure that that you have a mature security strategy and everything else. And if you don't do that, you're gonna go to jail. That's a tough risk to handle. To be honest, to being a security person in Web3. Not so much, but you still have a lot of personal liability. Like there's millions of dollars at stake and millions of dollars of millions of people. Like who has to say that one of those million people that lost money because you didn't take care of proper security hygiene or stuff like that is not a crazy guy that is gonna come to your house with a gun and shoot you? Like, sorry, I'm not selling security at all, but it's the truth. And it's something that I think about very often, all the time, and I want to make sure that when you're talking to your security folks, when you're like, specifically if the security guy is like, yeah, sorry, we need to test it, it's going to take another week. No, let's not do that. Just please use a ledger. Don't use your MetaMask. I know it's more convenient. Like these are the things that that guy has in her mind. It's the fact that, hey, if something happens, it's my ass on the back. So what keeps on a night? I think I'm a little bit over time, so I'm gonna go very quick. But there's a couple of differences between like traditional CISO and Web3 CISO, and I think the most important part over here, like it all starts with phishing. Phishing is the #1 vector over there. But what is the most important part is that in Web3, when it happens, it happened, and it's done. And you're gone. Like the funds are gone in 1 second. In the traditional, you have time, you have reputation, okay, you gotta negotiate, there's ransomware, okay, pay me, I'll tell you your data. In Web3, the money is gone, you're gone, the project is gone. Hopefully you can recover it through, trying to find who it is or negotiate or stuff like that, but it's gone. Like, it's not fun. So the risks are much higher when you're a Web3, crypto CISO type of person. So how do you think about this? And I'm going to finish very quick with this is, how I think about, security. Let's say you just got hired, you're a new security person. You think about people, you think about the technology, you think about the process. You got to make sure that the people, are, do things in the most safe way possible. Assume that they're all monkeys. Assume that they're all monkeys that have nothing to do, and make sure that you build a strategy based on that. The technology as well. Assume that North Korea is already in your AWS infrastructure. Okay, start with that base, go forward. And then processes. Ensure you have checks. Checks, like I said, with the video call and stuff like that. Check with your CISO, check with your CFO, check with your colleague that what he said on the video or what he said in this message is actually true, and it was him that actually said that message. This is the last one. So you just got hired again into security to do security. So what should you do? And I got this somewhere. I don't know. I read it somewhere in Twitter, and it stuck in my mind for months and months and months. So this is my take on it. First of all, do a tabletop exercise. Like assume you got hacked and see how the company reacts. Now, don't even tell your CEO. Tell your CTO and 2 or 3 more persons that you're gonna do this. But apart from that, just announce, hey, we just got hacked, and let's see how the company reacts. And they're gonna fail miserably. But that's gonna basically start training people to see which are the biggest holes that you need to solve. Then benchmark the maturity of the company. You can do it very easily with a checklist. Now there's NIST, CIS, and the CSA produce a bunch of checklists that are even relevant to a 5-person organization. Yes, this is not a thing for big bureaucratic companies. And the last one over here is build a risk-based plan. So start to think 30, 90, 365 plan, and talk about it with your founder team, with your leaders and stuff like that, to ensure that you're aligned with the business, no? And that you're not gonna just stop the whole engineering and die the product. I think I'm done with time, no? I'm good over there. Yeah, and I made it all the way to the end. So yeah, thank you guys. I hope I didn't discourage anybody from joining security, and if I did, you'll welcome me in the future when you're old and, you know, depressed like me. Yeah, no problem.